the history of tarot. Now, how did tarot start? Tarot was started by Italian and Greek gypsies, and it was used as a playing card game. It was used as a card game in Renaissance, during the Renaissance period. And tarot was more about people used to play cards, and it has lots of symbolism related to the Greek and the Italian and ancient Italian philosophy. That is why, though lots and lots of symbols in tarot connect to the Indian philosophy, but it's not something related to Indian philosophy. It's more like the Greek and the Italian philosophy. So it started as a card game. So it has started as a card game. Definitely, its dominance you can see in the modern cards deck of cards, the playing cards you have. So how does it relate to the playing cards you have? So I'll explain that also. See, tarot is a set of 78 cards. So there are 56 cards of four suits, which is known as the minor arcana, and we have 22 cards, which are known as the major arcana. As in playing cards, you have the spades, you have the clubs, then you have the diamonds, and you have the hearts. Again, in the tarot, you'll have the swords, the wands, the pentacles, and the cups. The cups will be representing your emotions, and the pentacles, the material aspect of your life. Of course, the most importantly, the clubs, the action you can take, and the swords, the thoughts you have, the conflict in your life, the stress you have. All these things are represented by the four suits. But because it is known as minor arcana, because it is going to address only minor things in your life, things that you are happening in your daily life. Then the most important part of tarot, the deck, is that are the 22 cards that are known as the major arcana cards. So before I start with the major arcana cards, I would like to show you the major arcana first, because only then you will be able to understand what I am talking about. So major arcana, there are 22 major arcana cards. They start with the Fool and they end at the World. So that is the reversal, I would say, in tarot. It starts with the Fool. I hope everyone can see the card, but let me show you the card number 22, and then I'll explain the card also, and then I'll explain it both them simultaneously, because that's what is important here. So the last card we have is card number 21, because there are 22 cards, they start with 0. So we have the card number 21, that is the World. So we have the World card. I hope everyone can see the World, right? So I have a very important punchline here. All the world's a stage and men and women merely players. This world rejects fools, right? No one likes the fool. But in tarot, fool leads to the world. So we have the 0 and we culminate at the world, right? Now, how do we explain it? A fool is a person who is immature, yes, but who is very innocent. Innocence is the key word, is something very important in the fool. When a child is born, he is innocent, he has that connect with the divine, and he feels good. He's like, oh, whatever I have today, I'm here in this world because of divine, right? So fool is a person who is totally innocent. He goes through various stages in his life. The various stages are when he meets the magician, that is card number 1, and then he meets the high priestess, the card number 2. It's not possible for me to explain each and every card, but I'll just give you an overview. So then the card number 3, he goes to the after the magician and the high priestess, he goes to the empress, the mother figure, the emperor, who is the father figure who creates discipline in your life, in his life, and so on and so forth. Finally, this is the end of cycle, the world, where everything is complete. So it is from the fool, he goes to the world, the maturing. But the point is, what we really need to understand here is that the journey of a fool, which starts from gay abandon, which starts from innocence, which starts from somewhat immaturity also. There are times in our lives where we totally, we are like fool, we take risks, right? And we are like कि I am कुछ नहीं होता, कोई बात नहीं, I am going to take that plunge, मैं कूद जाऊंगा. There are times like that. But then, but there are other times where we are like, no, I've achieved whatever, I have done whatever I want to, and now I can't do anything else, and I'm not going to do anything else. I'll be relaxed, and I'm going to, I have my head on my shoulders, and I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit, and I'm not going to take any risk. The fool has matured. How has fool matured? The fool has matured through different experiences in his life, different things which have happened, different milestones that have come in his life. So that is why tarot is, there will be, because there's so much floating on the internet, you can really study that if you want to. But tarot is book of life, because each and every card will explain each and every situation and mental state we face in our lives. That is why it is very, very easy for a tarot reader to explain your mental state. So it is very easy for a tarot reader to read your mind, because it's nothing, there's nothing in the tarot reader, it's all in the cards. The cards tell you. The cards are so potent, they have so much information. And normally you will see tarot readers. I will talk about my experience of 14 years of tarot. I have never seen cards being wrong. I won't say that cards are absolute. Nothing is absolute. Only God is absolute, right? But most of the time, cards give you the right direction. Cards will always give you the right direction. It's up to you. You're taking that direction or not. It is all up to you. You're taking that advice or not. But the advice of cards is always right. That is why I always say that the cards are always right. It is only the accuracy of the tarot reader. I mean, if the tarot reader is not able to convey that message to you, the accuracy depends on the tarot reader, not on the cards. Cards are giving you the message, because mostly tarot is not a predictive tool. It is not a fortune telling tool. It is a guidance tool. It will always guide you through different problems, different areas of your life where you feel stuck, where you feel deadlocked, where you feel, oh my God, I won't be able to go through it. Oh my God, this is something I just can't, do. It is going to guide you so beautifully, because it is going to tell you what is happening right now, what you're feeling right now, and what path you need to take, that you become better. So that is what tarot talks about. Now the most important thing, what tarot can do and what tarot cannot do. See, tarot can give you lots of advices. Tarot can identify your shortcomings. Tarot can identify your negativities. Tarot can give you a guidance through anything under the sun. You want to ask about your job, you have a problem, I mean, you're looking for a job, you're looking for financial gratification. Tarot can tell you, tarot can guide you through that path. Tarot can put you on that path, but tarot does not guarantee that you're going to definitely achieve success. It is going to tell you that you are going to take that path. If you take that path, you will be successful, but action, of course, has to be from your side. A very important, most of the people ask me, you've been reading tarot for so much, it's been a long time, how accurate the readings are. So so the all the time I tell them, suppose you ask me about a job interview and you tell me, please tell me if I'm going to get that job or not. So I ask the cards, I draw out a spread for you and do reading for you, and I tell you, oh, of course going to get the job. And you're like, oh my God, oh great, I'll get the job. And you go on sleeping and you don't go to the interview. Then what is going to happen? Cards are not going to bring the job on the platter. You have to make that effort. So again, it is all about the guidance, the path that tarot shows you, and you have to take that path.